Hey, everybody. Today for you, podcast number 48. Today's podcast is titled, You Are Built for This. Hey, everybody. Welcome. I'm Dr. Pete Lombardi, and this is the Limitless Life Network podcast, where we flesh out the limitations that are preventing you from reaching your goals and living the life that you are called to live. All right, so I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for listening to the podcast. I know we have a lot of repeat listeners. I get a lot of comments, and it's just fantastic. I really appreciate the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share it with a friend, leave us a review. All those kind things do help push the algorithm and to get this out into the world. So yeah, we're just trying to, lift people up and spread the love and try to teach people a little bit about, whoa, hey, there's some exciting news. So a little technical difficulty there. All right. So yeah, we're super excited. So let's get on with the show. I got some notes here. I'm scrolling through. So today's podcast is titled, You Are Built for This. And it's really based off this exciting news that our daughter-in-law, Samantha, gave birth yesterday to our very first grandson, Brooks Bear Lombardi. And we are over the moon excited about Brooks. So I'm super excited to welcome him. So yeah, that's the old sound effects there. So so Brooks, she did an absolutely amazing job, and he is so cute. He looks just like his daddy and a little bit like his mommy too. And he's super, super cute, and he just sleeps a lot. And we are very, very excited. So thank you for all the prayers and well wishes. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. And I got to tell you the birth story a little bit, and I know that guys are not ones that share a lot about birth stories. Women that have given birth, they love to talk birth stories. They want to know all about what happened. How was the birth? How was the labor? What happened? Women talk about, moms talk about birth like guys in high school talk about their old football games or their old basketball or sporting events, the old glory days. But it's this is way more important. The birth of a child is way more important than some sporting event. But anyway, she had a very long labor, and I think she labored 41 hours. And it got to the point where she had tried pushing for a long, long time, and they said, we've got to take you to the hospital to get from the birthing center to the hospital to have something done, some intervention. And she just decided, no, not today. And she just decided, I'm pushing this baby out. So she did an amazing job. She dug deep. And I drew a couple of points from that story today. So point number one is this. It is allow your operating system to operate. So what does that mean? Your operating system to operate. Well, we are all run by our nervous system. So our brain, our spinal cord, all of our nerves. But you have a pre-programmed operating system that knows how to operate everything. So your body is constantly regulating everything, controlling everything. All of your internal organs, they work without any conscious thought whatsoever. But we also have things that we do during our entire lifetime that are events that your body responds. Like if you get into a serious injury type situation, your body will automatically go into shock. Like that's part of the program. It knows exactly what to do to shut things down. We have a fight or flight response. That's an operating system too. It's a program that will run in a dangerous, life-threatening situation. But the birth process is one of those things too that is this tremendously well-orchestrated event that involves all these hormones and the nervous system and the body going through a ton of changes in order to bring a baby down through the birth canal. And all the research out there shows that the more comfortable a birthing mother is, the more safe and secure she feels, the labor's better. The more threatened, anxious, nervous, scared that a mother is, the more difficult the labor is. And that's because it's not natural to have interventions and threatening things. Now, our culture today looks at birth oftentimes as a medical procedure, and therefore we end up with a lot of struggling moms giving birth, and it becomes a lot more difficult than it has to be in many cases. So, and it's like that with other things besides birth. Just understanding how your body works, and it's designed perfectly well to do so. So I was just reading in a book today about the immune systems of a tribe that lives pretty much like a nomadic life, and their hygiene is absolutely horrible. They never really wash their hands, and if they do, they wash it in mud puddles and muddy water, and they eat their food even if it's touched the ground, and the majority of their food is food that they harvest or kill, and sometimes they cook it and sometimes they don't. Even meats they eat raw oftentimes. So you would think that these people wouldn't live long and that they would have a tremendous amount of disease, but they virtually have none of the problems that we have. They have none of the issues with cancer, diabetes, heart disease, irritable bowel syndrome, ulcerative colitis, all of these ailments that are so common in our culture today. They don't have any of those things. They very, very rarely ever even get sick. Very much no types of colds, flus that we see all the time. Their immune systems are extremely robust, and researchers point to their microbiome, their gut bacteria. So their bodies are really living in harmony with nature. So their operating system is just operating the way it has for thousands of years. So in our culture today, we've really taken away a lot of that. We've sanitized everything. So point number 2 is a very interesting point, because this is the point is this: knowing is not the same as doing. So, and this comes from a mother can explain to an expecting mom for her first child that birth is going to be painful, but until she experiences it, she has no idea what that pain feels like. This is not the only case where we could describe this, but another way to phrase it is to know and to not do is to not really know. So, in other words, there's nothing like experience to tell you the full story, because oftentimes words can't describe it enough for us to gather the full context. And we just can't always describe experience. And so we can talk all we want about something, but until you go try it, until you go do it, until you have the actual experience, you'll never know. Somebody could tell you about a movie, and you could get an idea about the movie, but until you go see it, you'll never have the full experience, the emotions and everything that goes with it. So point number 3 is that comfort is the thief of success. And the world we live in today is really all about creature comforts. We sleep on comfortable beds with comfortable pillows. We sit in comfy, cushy chairs, comfy couches. We ride in comfortable cars, to go to an office and sit in another comfortable chair, or to walk on hard level floors that have, just comfort controlled climate, and everything is all about comfort. But in reality, seeking comfort and avoiding pain is kind of a really low level function of our brain. That's actually like what the reptilian brain does. And that is, they're just constantly seeking pleasure and avoiding pain. And with comfort, there's really not a lot of stress. And we think that that's always good. But as we talked about last week, that stress is oftentimes what creates growth. That we were talking about the term hormesis, where biological stress produces a growth response. And In the case of my my daughter-in-law giving birth, she went through a tremendous amount of pain. If she, just had comfort, there wouldn't have been these absolute joy and elation that she had with birthing Brooks. The feelings that she had, the triumph and the victory that she experienced with him coming out healthy and being just so cute and perfect looking. um, she, I'm definitely biased. Yes, very cute. But she would never know that same joy if it was a birth where she had zero pain whatsoever. It wouldn't have been exactly the same. It would have been great with no pain, but it would have been different, right? But it's not the same. And again, it's no judgment on people that choose to go through birth with medications or whatever. This is what she chose, and this is what she wanted, and this is the experience that she was able to have. And I'm just my son said that he's never been so impressed with another human being, and I'm like, good for you, because I've heard that by many husbands and many dads when they see their wife birth their first child, and it is the most impressive thing to see a human being birth another human being, and it's there's nothing comfortable about it, but the success and the joy and the elation and the reward afterwards is all worth it, and they say so every time. And as a matter of fact, as time goes on, we're made in such a way that we forget the pain, and the joy outgrows the pain so much that we're willing to do it again and have more children. Okay, point number 4 is a common one you've probably heard many times, and it's this: movement is life. So, yes, that can be taken in a lot of different ways. The context is movement is life, and it really, I just want to put this out to you guys, is how far do you move in a day? What kind of movement do you do in a day? Because the average American is going to walk about 1.5 to 2 miles in their day. Now, our ancestors and members of, say, a hunter-gatherer tribe, they'll average about 10 miles a day. So, and on days where they go on trips or longer hunts, they'll do 20 miles to 25 miles a day. So us, on the other hand, we're doing 1.5 to 2 miles a day. So that's just under 5,000 steps, somewhere in that range. So everybody's got these Fitbits and these watches now that count your steps. So what does this really translate into? And that is, it translates into our health. Is what it translates into. Our body weight is really reflected based upon our movement. Yes, diet has a lot to do with it as well. There's no doubt about it. Eating a diet of whole foods is going to be much better for you than eating a diet of foods that are not great for you, and eating the right macronutrients and so forth. But movement is something that we should be doing every day, not just to lose weight, but really for the health of our joints, for our cognitive function, for our brain health. Example, body weight, for instance. The average male in this hunter-gatherer tribe weighs 112 pounds. The average female weighs 94 pounds. The average American male is 179, and the average female is 164. So our body weight is much, much more. And our caloric intake per pound, we intake 40% more calories than they do per pound. So think about that. So our the amount that we're eating versus the amount that we're moving is way more. And that's why we're struggling with more body weight issues, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, of which, again, comparing lifestyle to healthy individuals out there. And this is people that have the same genetic makeup that we do. And point number 5 is this, and that is, this is a new concept maybe for some of you. Rucking is the great equalizer. What is rucking? A ruck is a sack or a backpack coined by the military, and so you can have a rucksack, and rucking is the act of carrying that rucksack around. And so in the military, they often have you fill your pack up every single day and go for a hike. So they have you hiking about, guess how far? Oh, yeah, about 10 miles a day. And sometimes longer, sometimes shorter, but they tell you to go from point A to point B. And I know in the Green Beret training, this guy that I was reading about, he said that they wanted you to just don't be late, don't be light, and don't get lost. Those were the three things they would tell them. And he had to go somewhere every day. He had to navigate his way through the mountains and carrying this rucksack with a certain amount of weight, maybe 35, 50 pounds, 70 pounds, I'm not sure. But so what happens in the military is this. Some people show up very strong and very fit, but they're very bulky. And they could have loads of muscle on their body, but that's a liability in combat because you're not very mobile when you're a really big person. So they put you on this rucking protocol. And if you show up and you're weak and you're kind of skinny, they do the same thing. They put you on this rucking protocol. And what happens is that it equalizes your body mass out. You start to lose the extra muscle. You don't lose strength, but you lose the extra muscle, and your muscles convert over to something that's more efficient. And the same thing, the lighter individuals tend to gain weight in muscle in the carrying places. Now, the cool thing about rucking that I really, really like versus, say, going for a run is the impact on your joints. Whereas somebody that say they weigh 175 pounds, when you're running, that's a multiplier, and then you're putting somewhere around 1,500 pounds of stress on your knees every time your feet are striking the ground. So it's a tremendous amount of force on the joints. Versus rucking, now you're right around that 450, 500 pound amount of pressure. So a significantly less amount of pressure on the joints. And over a long duration, that makes a big difference. It actually works to strengthen the tendons, strengthen the joints, and doesn't typically cause any damage to the joints where long distance running really does. And I think ideal weight, like ideal maximum weight for a male is 50 pounds, and I think female is like 35 pounds would be a maximum load. But the cool thing about rucking is you can start with just the empty backpack, and then you can slowly add weight to it and just get out there and cover some ground. So I just encourage you guys to get out there and do some things that are more in tune with how you're really designed. Live your life in a way that is not so much like a human being in captivity, but a human being that is out there living a life that is the way you were designed to live. So not in the way we do right now. But that's all I have for this week's edition of your weekly Limitless Life Network podcast. Tune in each and every week so that you can be inspired and keep moving toward your goals and living the best life that you are meant to lead by stripping away your limitations. We will see you next time.